Music, the most beautiful and uniform language known to man. It has colourful tones and nuances. But to converse in the language of music, we need an instrument. Maybe the natural simplicity of the singing voice, or an instrument crafted by hand at great cost and mastered through years of hard work. At the heart of this language is the relationship between player and instrument, a deep and intimate friendship. Liverpool is a city that's reinvented itself after decades of neglect and decline from its 19th century status as the second port of the British Empire. A place full of contrast, culture and crime, beauty and the beast, poverty and plenty. A rich musical voice has spoken down through the ages. But it is here, in the most unexpected place, that one of Liverpool's and Britain's most magnificent musical voices can be found. The organ at Liverpool Cathedral was built by Henry Willis and Sons, a family firm for over 160 years. It is the largest instrument of its type in Britain and one of the largest in the world. Forget the medieval splendour of Westminster Abbey, Durham, York Minster and Canterbury Cathedral. It's here in Liverpool and in its 19th century Gothic cathedral that one can find the king of instruments. My name's John Wright. I'm a musician and I was born just outside Liverpool. I've always been fascinated by this astonishing building behind me. Liverpool Cathedral is one of the largest cathedrals in the world. And I've come here to talk to the cathedral's organist, Professor Ian Tracey.
It's the largest in the country and it's in one of the biggest spaces. I think it's actually the largest Anglican cathedral in the Anglican Communion, and therefore it sits in this vast space and has to be designed to speak into it. But of course it's high romantic and the voicing is absolutely beautiful. It's so smooth and absolutely perfectly fitting this building.
This really is an incredible instrument. The facts surrounding it are amazing. There are 188 stops, with 10,268 pipes that range in length from 3/4 of an inch to a phenomenal 64 feet. It has 5 manuals and 50 days each year are spent tuning it. All this means that the Willis organ in Liverpool Cathedral is ranked with the top 20 pipe organs in the world. All very impressive, but what do all these statistics mean? How does this fabulous machine work? Chris McDade is an organist and headmaster of the Cathedral Choir School in Ripon, North Yorkshire.
Okay, right. Welcome to the console. We would normally call this, in piano terms, a keyboard. We call this manuals in organ speak. So we've got 4 keyboards or 4 manuals. We've got various different pistons, so we can change fairly quickly, or we can actually use the toe pistons. So I can use the same thing and I can get different registrations, different sounds out of that. So for example, what I could do is if I simply play this chord here, and I go through the different pistons, you'll see and hear the sound changes. And we can do that with each manual. We've got 4. This is called the choir. The second one is called the great. The third one is called the swell. And the fourth one is called the solo. It's a big instrument. We're talking many thousands of pipes ranging from, as we said, 32 feet in length to then what we call the standard lineup of 8-4-2. If we went 8-4-2 on the great, we would have this. And you can actually hear within that chord the top, the middle and the bottom. On top of that we can then add 16 feet. You can hear the bottom part, and then we can go on to what we call mutations. So I can add stops for 2 2/3, 1 1/3, and then what we call mixtures, which put different ranks of pipes together. Makes it a bit brighter at the top. So we would use that for a full congregation. Here we've got several thousand pipes ranging in all sorts of different sizes, and therefore we have in a sense an orchestra in a box.
But does the instrument in Liverpool's Anglican Cathedral suit the venue? Does it have the right voicing for the fourth largest cathedral in the world?
The organ was voiced in a space not much bigger than the space we're sitting in here. So the wall, the temporary wall that closed the building, was just past us here. And it was therefore sitting in a space about a quarter of its current size, maybe even nearly a fifth its current size. And so the voicers had to voice the instrument in that small space, taking a gamble that volumetrically the building was going to be about four to five times the size. And that's the miraculous thing about this organ, actually, that they got it so right, because now the building is complete. It's obvious that it's absolutely apposite in the building.
The process used to voice and tune pipes today is exactly the same as it was when Henry Willis III built the Liverpool Cathedral organ in the 1920s, and probably the same as when the Greeks first built organs in the 3rd century AD. The Willis & Sons factory in Liverpool is still making organs using these ancient skills, so I paid a visit to see some true craftsmen voicing pipes in the traditional way.
Cutting up of the mouth, which is the first step for the voicing, we take a proportion of the width of the mouth and then mark it across the top lip with the proportional dividers, and then just get the knife in order to start opening up the mouth. It's a gradual process. You just have to whittle the metal away bit by bit. Some pipes, depending on the construction of the pipe for different types of stops, some are thicker than others, and the really thick ones take an awful lot of wrist work to be able to push the knife through the metal. There is no machine for doing this. So there we are, the mouth's cut up now, and now set the pipe on speech. Let's clear the tip.
I was impressed by the level of craftsmanship I saw at the Willis factory. Voicing isn't simply tuning a pipe to a certain frequency. It's actually far more complex than that. Voicing gives each pipe a timbre of its own and allows the sound of the organ to change from brass to strings, for example, to woodwind.
A voiced pipe.
One pipe finished, just another 10,267 to go. First time I ever heard you use this console, I think I was sitting at the back of the cathedral as a 12-year-old, absolutely awe-inspired by not just by the music and the virtuosity, but by the complexity of the instrument and what it could do. Can you just show us a little bit of its quality?
Trompette harmonique, the very French sound. Which is, quite unique. I mean, the English trumpet just doesn't sound the same. It's fatter and more rounded. Then the clarinets. Oboes. Flutes. String tones. French horn. Cor anglais, tromba, tuba, and then of course on the pedal organ, big trombones. You've got infinite choices, infinite gradations of loudness and softness and of tone. And of course the organist mixes these things at the side, these stops, rather like an artist mixes the colours on his palette.
Who needs an orchestra?
Indeed, César Franck, mon orgue c'est une orchestre.
Yes, absolutely. I visited the Willis factory here in Liverpool and heard the fabulous array of sounds that can be produced by Henry Willis III's organ in the cathedral. And now I'm really keen to find out more about the family who provided 4 generations of master organ builders and whose skills are still being practiced today.